Imagine driving through the American heartland. You see rolling fields of corn and soybeans stretching as far as the eye can see. It's a picture of American agriculture, right? But what if I told you that this idyllic scene might be hiding a surprising twist? What if the farms you're passing are increasingly owned, not by folks down the road, but by companies thousands of miles away in China? It might sound like the plot of a bad action movie, but it's the reality we're facing. Over the past decade, Chinese investment in U.S. farmland has been quietly growing, and it's raising some serious questions about who controls our food, our land, and ultimately, our future. Now, as a farmer myself, and my father and grandfather before me, I'm not saying that every tractor you see is suddenly sporting a Made in China sticker. But the truth is, the amount of American farmland owned by foreign entities, particularly those based in China, has been steadily increasing, and it's time we started paying attention. So, just how much land are we talking about? Well, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, foreign entities own a significant chunk of American agricultural land. While the exact figures are difficult to pin down, it's estimated that Chinese investors own at least a couple of million acres of U.S. farmland. That might not sound like a lot compared to the vastness of the American landscape, but it's the trend that's got people worried. These numbers have been steadily increasing for years. In some states, the amount of foreign-owned farmland has doubled or even tripled in recent times. Now, I'm not a math whiz, but when I see lines on a graph going up like that, it tends to make me sit up and take notice. And you should too, because behind these numbers is a bigger story about global power, food security, and the future of American agriculture. The question on everyone's mind is, why are Chinese investors so interested in American farmland? Well, there are a few key reasons. First off, China has a lot of mouths to feed. With a population of over 1.4 billion people, they need a reliable source of food. Secondly, China faces its own set of agricultural challenges. Pollution, water scarcity, and shrinking farmland have made it tough for them to produce enough food domestically. So, they're looking abroad to secure their food supply. American farmland, on the other hand, is like the Beyoncé of global agriculture. Fertile, productive, and highly sought after. It's a no-brainer for investors looking for a safe and profitable place to put their money. One of the most high-profile examples of Chinese investment in American agriculture is the acquisition of Smithfield Foods back in 2013. Smithfield, the world's largest pork producer, was bought by a Chinese company called WH Group for a cool $4.7 billion. This deal raised eyebrows and sparked concerns about China gaining too much control over a crucial part of the U.S. food supply. After all, pork is kind of a big deal in America. We love our bacon, our pulled pork, our ham. The thought of a foreign company controlling such a large portion of our pork production made some people uneasy. The Smithfield deal was a wake-up call. It showed that Chinese investment in U.S. agriculture wasn't just about buying up land. It was about gaining a foothold in the entire food supply chain, from farm to table. Section 5. Feeding America or feeding China. The growing Chinese presence in American agriculture has raised concerns about the security of our food supply. Some argue that if a significant portion of our farmland is owned by foreign entities, it could give them leverage over our food production. Imagine a scenario where tensions between the U.S. and China escalate. Could China use its agricultural holdings as a bargaining chip? Could they threaten to disrupt our food supply? These are uncomfortable questions we need to be asking. Furthermore, there are concerns about the quality and safety of food produced on foreign-owned farms. While there's no evidence to suggest that Chinese-owned farms are cutting corners, the lack of transparency and oversight makes some people uneasy. Section 6. The next generation on the farm. Another important aspect of this issue is the impact on young American farmers. Farming is already a tough business, and the rising cost of land makes it even harder for young people to get started. When foreign investors come in with deep pockets, it can drive up land prices, making it nearly impossible for young farmers to compete. This could lead to a decline in the number of family farms and a consolidation of farmland into the hands of a few large corporations. This is a big deal because family farms are the backbone of rural America. They provide jobs, support local economies, and preserve a way of life that has defined this country for generations. The loss of family farms would be a blow to rural communities and to the fabric of American agriculture. Section 7. A shot in the arm or a slow poison. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. Some argue that Chinese investment in U.S. farmland can actually be a good thing. They point out that foreign investment can bring much-needed capital to rural areas, creating jobs and boosting local economies. When a foreign company buys a farm or a food processing plant, it often invests in upgrading facilities and equipment. This can create construction jobs and boost demand for local goods and services. In some cases, it can be a lifeline for struggling rural communities. However, these economic benefits need to be weighed against the potential long-term costs. Is it worth sacrificing control over our food supply and the future of American agriculture for a short-term economic boost? That's a question we need to carefully consider. Section 8. A seat at the global table. The issue of Chinese investment in U.S. farmland is also part of a larger story about global trade dynamics. As China's economic and political influence grows, they're looking for ways to secure their interests around the world. Investing in farmland is a strategic move that gives them a seat at the table when it comes to global food security. It also gives them potential leverage over countries that depend on them for food imports. This is a trend we're seeing not just in the U.S., but in countries all over the world. From Africa to South America, China is buying up farmland and investing in agricultural infrastructure. It's a sign of their growing global ambitions and their desire to control key resources. Section 9. The million-dollar question. So, is Chinese investment in U.S. farmland simply a smart business move, or is it something more? Is it a sign of China's growing global influence, or is it a threat to American sovereignty? There are no easy answers. This is a complex issue with far-reaching implications. It's about more than just who owns a piece of land. It's about who controls our food, our resources, and ultimately, our future. The next time you see a field of corn swaying in the breeze, take a moment to think about who might actually own that land and what it could mean for the future of American agriculture and global food security. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this one.